All right, let's talk about Rumi, the 13th century mystic poet who is, let's be honest, more popular now than ever. We're going to dive into this amazing collection of his work, The Essential Rumi, translated by Coleman Barks, because it turns out there's a hidden structure, a secret map, right there in its pages.
I mean, you've seen his poetry all over the place, right? Quotes about lovers, the universe, and finding yourself. But they usually pop up one at a time, kind of disconnected, like these beautiful little sparks. But what if they're not just random sparks? What if they're part of a bigger picture, a constellation? Well, the answer is a huge yes. This book, The Essential Rumi, isn't just a greatest hits album of his poems. It's so much more than that. It's been carefully put together to be a kind of map, a guide for a spiritual journey that takes you from one state of being to a completely different one. So, every journey has to start somewhere, and this will begin with what Rumi calls the call. Now, this isn't some gentle little knock on the door. No, this is like a whirlwind. It's this overwhelming, intoxicating pull into a whole new way of seeing things, where all the old rules just don't seem to apply anymore. And Rumi throws us right into the deep end with this feeling in the very first chapter, which is called The Tavern. This line just says it all, doesn't it? There's a strange frenzy in my head. It's not about quiet, peaceful meditation. It's about a kind of divine madness. The tavern for Rumi is this symbolic place, beyond all the stuffy rules, where the first step to truth is to get spiritually drunk.
So the whole point of these first few chapters is just to let go. You have to. You can't start this kind of journey dragging all your old baggage and certainties with you. So, chapter 1, The Tavern, is all about embracing that spiritual high. Then chapter 2, Bewilderment, actually tells us it's okay to be confused, to not know all the answers. And then Spring Giddiness urges us to drop that logical, rational part of ourselves and just be wildly, crazily alive.
Okay, so you've had that first wild, ecstatic rush. Now what? Well, after the party comes the cleanup, right? The journey has to turn inward. And this is what Rumi calls the path. This is where that initial high has to be transformed into real internal work. It's definitely quieter, it's a lot harder, but it is absolutely crucial. And a huge idea here comes from chapter 3, emptiness and silence. Now, when we hear the word emptiness, we usually think of something negative, a void. But for Rumi, it's the total opposite. Emptiness isn't a scary absence, it's a beautiful, receptive space. It's about clearing out all the junk, all the ego and the noise in your head so that something much, much bigger, the divine, the beloved, has room to come in.
And this is key. Creating that space, that emptiness, doesn't just happen. It takes discipline. It takes real work. Rumi gets deep into this in chapter 6, Controlling the Desire Body. This part of the path is all about making a conscious choice to tame those impulses that keep us distracted and fill our heads with noise. So these are really the big challenges that define this middle section of the journey. In emptiness and silence, you have to face that quiet void. Then, in chapter 5, Feeling Separation, you sit with that deep, painful ache of feeling disconnected from your spiritual source. And finally, in Controlling the Desire Body, you do the hard work of mastering yourself. So what's the reward for all this difficult inward work? Well, it's the arrival. This is it. This is the absolute heart of everything Rumi talks about. It's that incredible, ecstatic moment of union, where the seeker and what they're seeking, the lover and the beloved, finally become one.
I mean, this line from the chapter literally called Union, it just says it all. So simple, but so powerful. The feeling of separation is gone. That emptiness you worked so hard to create has been completely filled. Your little individual self dissolves into the divine. It's not that you disappear. It's that you become part of something infinite, kind of like a drop of water finally returning to the ocean.
And Rumi explores this ultimate goal from a few different angles. In a chapter called Being a Lover, he talks about the incredible devotion it takes. And in another chapter, The Sheikh, he talks about how a spiritual guide can help you get to this place of total surrender. It's the destination that the whole map has been pointing to all along. But here's the thing about Rumi. He's not just a mystic lost in his own experience. He's also a brilliant teacher. So once you understand the destination, this idea of union, the final part of the book is full of these amazing stories and metaphors. And they're all designed to teach us how the world really works, both the parts we can see and the parts we can't. This table is a great way to see how he does it. He uses these really simple stories to get at these huge, profound truths. There's the famous one about the elephant in the dark, which is all about how we each grab one little piece of the truth and think we have the whole picture. The reed flute song is this beautiful metaphor for the soul crying out, longing to go back to its spiritual home. And the story of the three fish, it shows the different ways people respond when faced with a crisis: the wise, the clever, and, well, the foolish.
So, when you step back and look at the whole book, this is the map. This is the journey it lays out for you. Step 1, that wild, intoxicating ecstasy of the call. Step 2, the tough but essential discipline of the inward path. Step 3, the incredible bliss of union. And finally, step 4, wisdom, where you're able to share what you've learned through stories. And this right here might be Rumi's most famous invitation of all. It's a call to that final destination, a place that's beyond our little egos, beyond all our judgments of good and bad. It's an invitation to that field of pure being, that state of union that this whole incredible poetic journey has been leading us toward. And so that really leaves us with just one last question, a question for you. As you look at this map of the soul's journey, from that ecstatic tavern through the difficult path of discipline and out into that field of union, where do you see yourself right now?